Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is again Teacher Rhea, and this time I'm going to discuss on how to construct frequency distribution table. So in statistics, construction of frequency distribution table is very important since it is from the frequency distribution table, especially on the part of the group data, that we can identify or dito ta mag-identify on what are the possible data or given that we need to use in solving for a particular measures of either central tendency or measures of position or variability or whatever is the unknown. So we have here, I have prepared here different steps in constructing frequency distribution table. So step one is we are going to find the range. And how are we going to find the range? That is largest quantity minus the smallest quantity. Next is step 2. After finding the range, you are going to determine the approximate number of classes. So the formula that to be used is k is equal to 1 plus 3.322 logarithm of n. So of course, in this part, you need the guidance or the help of your calculator. So using this formula, you can identify the number of classes. So k, of course, is the approximate number of classes, and logarithm of n is the logarithm of the total number of observations in a given data. Now, in identifying the final value of our k, we are going to round it off. So when we say round it off, careful with the decimal that deals with it. So if it's 0.5 and above, that would be the plus 1 ka sa integer. If 0.5 and below, retain ang integer. Next is we have the step 3. Step 3 is determine the class interval. So that it's very important nga you will be able to identify the value of the range and k correctly since those are the values that we need in solving for the class interval. Class interval can be solved using the equation range over k. So we have range or I should be greater than the class interval. That is why the term that we're going to use is round up. So when we say round up, we don't care what is the decimal nga nakapilit niya or within niya. What's important is whatever is the integer, if there is a decimal involved, always plus 1. So even if it's below 0.5, plus 1 ka. So for example, when you come up with a result of 5.1. So since our term here is round up, meaning the value of our I will be 6. So round up plus 1 with the current integer. Next, step 4 is determine the classes starting with the lowest class. Of course, that would be based from our given set of data. So use the smallest quantity for the lower limit of the first class. Add the interval I to the lower limit and the upper limit of the first class to obtain the lower limit and upper limit of the next class. So when to note, when to stop, if the class that you were able to obtain already composed or consists of the largest value. Next, we have step number 5 is tally the quantities. Tallying of the quantities also is very important since the frequency is or majority of the unknown or when you are going to solve for the variability, measures of central tendency, measures of position, frequency is always present. And of course, the frequency that you will be obtaining will be based from the quantities that you were able to tally. Next is determine the frequency represented by f, and then add the frequencies to get the summation of f, and that should be equal to the total number of data in a given group of data. So I have prepared here the summary on how are we going to do that one. So to make you understand it better, let's have the construction of frequency distribution table. So for example, we have this one. The following are heights in centimeters of 35 students. So from that given set of data, we will try to construct a frequency distribution table. So we have from that data, let's start with solving for the range. Okay, step 1, find the range. So from the given data, the highest value is 146. So, and then the lowest value is 120. So 146 minus 120, we get the range that is equal to 26. Now, after the range, we need to identify the value of k. So for the value of k, we have here, using the equation, k is equal to 1 plus a 3.322 logarithm of n. So that is equal to 1 plus 3.322 n. We try to replace it with 35 since in our given set of data there are 35 numbers. And logarithm of 35 is equal to 6, logarithm of 35 times 3.322 plus 1 is equal to 6.129. Now, you will be making use of your calculator. Now, since in the value of our class, number of classes is rounding off, meaning, okay, so before kumuhatag sa final answer, I will try to show you on how are we going to make use of the calculator in solving for this particular equation. So start with the logarithm of, so press log, then 3, then 5, then equal sign, and that will give you this value, 1.544068044. Now, do not restart the calculator. Continue by pressing times, then 3.322. And that gives you equal sign, then 5.129394043. Now, what's the advantage of being or solving it in continuous process? Continuous process, manggod, is it can give us the nearest possible or the nearest approximation instead of rounding it off. So do not restart the computer. After you come up with the result of 5.129394043, you add it with 1. So plus 1, and that gives you 6.129394043. Now, since in the concept of the class size or the number of classes, the condition there is rounding it off. Now, since the decimal is 0.129 and it is less than 0.5, meaning our approximate number of classes is 6. Okay, so later on, gamito na to na siya. So now we are done with step 1 and step 2. Let's proceed to step 3 by solving for the class interval. Now, since it was already solved, that our class interval or the formula for class interval is range over k. And on our previous slides, I was already able to discuss, or we were already able to solve for the range. Range is 26 and k is 6. So substitute those values, we get 26 divided by 6, and 26 divided by 6 is 4.3. But since on the concept of the class interval, we are going to round it up. So even if 0.3 is lesser than 0.5, in approximation, our class interval is equal to 5, making use of the concept of rounding up. So, we are done with the step 3. This time, we're going to determine the classes. So, we are now going to have this one. How are we going to do the frequency distribution table? Okay. So, this is what your frequency distribution table look like. We have starting with the class interval, then the class boundaries, the tally, the frequency, and then the less than cumulative frequency. So since we were already able to identify that our lowest number or data is 120, so our class interval will start at 120. Now, nganong niabotag until 124? Remember, our class or class interval is 5. So, count. You can use your hand. So, 120, 121, 122, 122, 123, until 124 na akay 5 ka quantity or there are 5 quantities. Now, to make use of the concept, na all you need to do is add the interval so that you'll be able to identify the next limit. Oh, we have here 125 to 129. Why? 120 plus 5. So, I will try to show all the ano ha. Okay. 120 plus 125, plus 5, 125, plus 5 is 130, plus 5, 135, plus 5, 140, plus 5, 145. And it follows with our upper limits. 124 plus 5 is 129, plus 5, 134, plus 5, 139, plus 5, 144, plus 5, 149. O, nigawas na akong isa ka class boundary. For the class boundary is, the lower limit, subtract it with 0.5. So that's why we have 119.5. The upper limit is plus kaog 0.5. So 124.5. And in identifying the next class intervals, the same. Whatever is the class interval ng 5, then imo siyang i-add. And it follows na dayon. 119 plus 5, yeah, plus 5, and plus 5. That is how are you going to identify the class boundaries. To check whether sakto ang imong class boundaries, this is what you're going to do. The upper boundary, subtract it to the lower boundary, dapat you will be able to come up with our class interval, the value of our I. Okay, again, to check our class boundaries, upper boundary minus the lower boundary, that should give you the interval. Another thing that you have to take note is this one. How are you going to differentiate limit and boundary? So see 120 to 124, in this particular class, 120 is lower limit. 124 is upper limit. 119.5 is lower boundary. 124.5, that is upper boundary. So make sure you should know the difference between the two. Next, let's continue or let's start the tallying. Now, in the part of the tallying, I usually do the crushing out para you will not be confused or di na ta malibat o tinanaw or whether the particular data is already recorded or not. So, like this. Let's start with 124. Oh, naa siya na belong ni 120 to 124. Next, si 126 is naa siya dere, so dira ta magbutag stick. Next is 134 is under this class. Next is 138 is under 135 to 139. 142 is Arishani, 140 to 144. 143 is 140 to 144 gihapon. 136 is 135 to 139. 131 is 130 to 134. And so on and so forth. O, kada nag-crushing ko ana. Kay para makahibaw ko until what particular data naman ko nag-tallying. Okay, so, ilan ako tagsa-tagsaon ha. But you can keep on watching the video para ganahan siya ka nga makitaan yun mo siya tagsa-tagsa. Okay, so that's one and that's it. Okay, now, next is you try to identify the frequency. So we have from 120 to 124, there are 2. 125 to 129, we have 4. 130 to 134, we have 9. 135 to 139, we have 12. 140 to 144, we have 7. And 145 to 149, we have 1. Now, how are you going to check kung sakto imong pagkatali? First is, or one way of checking is, you try to add your frequency. So, 2 plus 4, that is 6, plus 9, or you can have the cumulative frequency. Plus 9, that's 15, plus 12, that's 17, plus 7, that's 15 plus 12, that's 27, plus 7 is 34, plus 1 is 35. Now, how are you going to double check pag yun? Arita ni less than cumulative frequency. In less than cumulative frequency, 2 is copied, or the first frequency is copied. Then add it to the next frequency. So 2 plus 4, that gives you 6. 6 plus 9, that gives you 15. 15 plus 12, that gives you 27. 27 plus 7, that gives you 34. And 34 plus 1, that gives you 35. So we have our last cumulative frequency should be equal to our summation of frequency. Equal gina siya dapat. So that is one way of checking whether you were able to do the tallying correctly or not. Remember, the frequency distribution table is very important. Okay, the data that you need in answering for the measures of central tendency for group data, measures of position for group data, measures of variability is for group data, diha ka mag-base ana sa frequency distribution table. So that is very important. So I hope you learned something from the video. Don't forget to subscribe on my channel and wait for my next video about measures of central tendency on group data. Bye-bye!